so much for sitting down with me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was good.
I know you through sending my kids to you for sports training and character building, integrity strengthening. I also know that you won a Super Bowl in 1992 with the Washington Redskins. What I don't know is just your background and what led you to be the man you are today, shaped your life, and really drives you to mentor so many young people in our community. So I'm going to start at the beginning. You grew up in Meigs, Georgia,
Right.
with a population of about 1,000 at the time. What in the world was that like?
Wow. Great place to grow up. And a lot of great leadership, and parents that sewed into three boys as often as they could. They were very hard workers. So we learned work ethic at a very young age. It was in an agricultural town, so just about everybody, including the kids, worked. So we got that work ethic reinforced, learned the value of the exchange, work for money, work for reward. So it was a good time.
Yeah.
Good time. Not a lot of recreation. I was introduced to the game of football at a very young age. My aunt was the shuttle driver to football games here at Central High School, and my uncle, one of the youngest of my dad's 13 siblings, was an outstanding quarterback over at Central High School. And sitting there in the stands when he made big plays and they called his name, my little 4 or 5 year old heart just got really excited.
So did you all grow up in church, going to Sunday school, and your brothers and your family going together?
We did. We were members of Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church, or my parents were, and my two brothers and I, again, were introduced to the Lord at a very young age, had some great, as I can remember, great Sunday school teachers, had some pastors that really cared about the congregation there. Sure. And so, it was, I can remember revivals being the opportunities as little kids at a Baptist setting, revivals being an opportunity for us to dress down, but a lot of fun. Those revivals would run for a week. And I can remember one of my cousins coming back from the Army. He had gotten saved, and he came in to visit. Donnie Simpson was his name. Donnie came in, and really odd thing for us at the time was we're going to one of those revival meetings, and Donnie's taking his Bible. And at 19 years old, like him being 19 years old, told us that we need to always carry the word with us.
Wow.
And that was something that we were not accustomed to. But that evening, as the preaching concluded, or the whole service concluded, Donnie talked to myself, the two brothers, and he had a couple of brothers actually, and he sat us down and taught us. And I can just remember that being so valuable, but again, not really understanding a whole lot in regards to it. But he continued through that week to encourage us and bless us and really just help us to understand salvation. I didn't get saved at that moment, but I think it really set the table for me to just hunger a little bit. I was maybe 10, 12 years old at the time. And so anyway, when I just say God continued to nurture that seed in me. And so as a college sophomore, when he sent the right person at the right time, my heart was ready, and I knew it was time for me to commit my life to the Lord.
That's wonderful. The remarkable thing is that your cousin was 19.
Right. Yeah.
And sounds like if you were a sophomore in college, you too would be around 19.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
That's pretty neat. So the pinnacle of your sports career was really probably winning the Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins. But when did you develop like a deep passion for sports, and really what led you to that? Was that when you were going to these games as a young boy and watching these?
Absolutely. Back in that day, television here, maybe 2, 3 channels. I can remember watching football and learning as a maybe 7, 8-year-old that they paid the players to play.
Yeah.
And I think I made a decision at that point. If they will pay me to do that, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
And so I got in high pursuit, and I pursued it with great passion through, end of elementary school. I I committed to no sugar
Wow.
as a 12-year-old. Let me back up. Out in the country, we were a Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer. Most little kids smoked, stole beer from their parents, drank beer, just real stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm maybe 10 years old before I realized, or when I realized, this stuff won't help me get to where I want to go.
Right.
And so I stopped. And again, I'm 6th grade here, 12 years old, and I can't remember what the teacher was, but it was a health teacher. And I can remember the teacher just identifying junk food as junk and the good stuff as the good stuff.
Right.
And I thought, man, I'm going to need all the good stuff I can get.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop the sweets. So that moment, I stopped eating candy. I stopped all sugar, as far as cakes and brownies and cupcakes and cookies and all the lot. And it was hard and fast.
What discipline at a young age? I mean, that's a young age to show that much discipline and focus. I've heard a rumor that in your preparation for getting ready for the football field, there was a car involved. Can you tell me about maybe pulling a car to get prepared for football season?
Wow, just thinking about that a couple of days ago. I had I watched a Saturday morning program, watched Sylvester Stallone talk about growing up without a lot of means,
Yeah.
and he said I did everything that I could to build my body, to get stronger, to build muscle. And he said, I didn't have ankle weights. I didn't have a lot of amenities, didn't have ankle weights to help me to get faster. And he said, but I took some string or something, tied it around his ankles, tied it to bricks, and he said I pulled them across the yard.
Yeah.
And I sat there, and maybe 15, 16 at the time. And I thought, man, I can do that. So I went and found a couple of old belts, did the same thing, did it for a little bit, went through the process of learning, growing through high school, end of a high school career, and being recruited by Valdosta State College. End up on a recruiting visit with a guy that was known for his speed. He's a recruit out of an area high school, but he was a receiver. And he shared with me, he said, I didn't have a lot out on the farm where I grew up. So I had a little Toyota that I can't remember again where he said he got it as far as his age, but he said I pulled that car and it helped to make my legs stronger. I thought, wow, I wonder if my parents will let me do that. So I'm still learning and growing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pulling from every resource available over and over. But this is one of those places, if it worked for him, it'll work for me.
Sure.
So I did it. I actually started with my parents' car. At the end of my freshman year, I bought my own little Pontiac Ventura. And so, I pulled that up and down the street. Wow. And a couple of days ago, it's really funny, really ironic, but I can remember starting to cramp up. And I'm on an incline. Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, there's nobody. Right. People in the neighborhood would look out the window and see me. I was so.
Thank goodness there weren't cell phones videoing you at the time,
listen,
right?
They got enough mental pictures.
That's right.
I was that oddity, needless to say, as a young person that was in such pursuit of my personal goals, personal dreams. didn't always fit the bill. I can't tell you I was the person that was always invited to the party.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was that back in the day, L7, you might remember the L7 square kid that was
Yeah.
found in the corner doing homework at odd times. But that was, again, it was all blessing. I will tell you, it was nothing short of blessing. There was a lot of my peer group that didn't need maybe as much success, financially. But I was in hot pursuit, and it just felt like then the Lord would allow certain opportunities to arise, give me the wherewithal to make another good decision.
Yeah.
Was what it was.
Yeah.
What was
Well,
happening.
I'm curious because at the start of your high school football career, it wasn't like people were like, Danny Copeland, he's up and coming. People doubted you. So
It's more like Danny Copeland, where you going?
yeah. Well, who was in your corner? Did you have a mentor, a friend, a relative that really pulled for you and believed in you? Because I know you had the belief in yourself, but did somebody else help you?
I had a group of peers that were pretty much, they weren't maybe as straight and narrow as I had chosen to be, but we pushed each other a lot. Again, because I was one of the smaller kids. I was one of the slower kids trying to play football. I knew I needed more, and my sights were on that all the time.
Yeah.
So it was, and sometimes that makes for a somewhat lonely walk, if you will. But my best friend in high school ended up being Robert Farmer, who we were accountability partners to the nth degree. Yeah. I mean, it's really fun. We were the gifted program. Don't ask me how I got in the gifted program, but we were both in the gifted program. He was the receiver on the football team. I was the cornerback, primarily cornerback. And we worked each other, and I mean, to the point that we would not let another football player work in repetitions against each other, because this guy is here. This is my partner to make me better. Right. He was the better receiver at the time. I was the better cornerback. And so again, we worked each other, but we did the same thing in the classroom. Yeah. I'd go off to Eastern Kentucky. He gets scholarship opportunities at Morehouse. His all academic, mine athletic. And end of the first semester, I had taken, I think it was 14 hours or so. I dropped a class, and there at Morehouse, I was needing a ride home. And so I called him and I said, Rob, what point are you guys going to Thomasville? And he let me know, and then I thought, man, I can find a ride. I'll find a way to get to Atlanta and catch that ride home. Yeah. And he says, by the way, man, how'd you do? How'd I do? I did pretty good. And I'm thinking football. Right, he says, right. He's talking books. He says, your grades, man, how did you do? Yeah. And I said, well, it's 4 A's and a B. He said, what? I said, 4 A's and a B. He said, man, what did you do? He said, how many hours did you take? And he's coming off like my dad. My dad had actually never been this. Yeah, my dad had never been this stern with academics. And I'm thinking, like, I did pretty doggone good. This is my first rodeo. Yeah, right. Well, Rob was maybe fifth kid in his household. I'm number one in my family, and he's maybe fifth in his household. Yeah. He was valedictorian at Central High School, by the way. And I said, well, it took 17 hours, but I had to drop a class. Yeah. And he said, what do you mean? I said, Rob, hold on, man. So he says, he's setting some high standards for you. He says, how many hours can you take? Yeah. I said, well, I can take up to 21, but they don't want the athletes to take more than 18. He said, why did you not take 21 hours? I'm like, dude, I've never been to college before, and so now I'm
Right.
starting to heat up a little bit. But yeah, that was the
Oh, that's
point.
great.
That was the
That's why you're
intensity
pushing.
of our relationship. Yeah,
Yeah,
as
that's
accountability
neat.
partners and friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's that saying that persistency gets you there, and consistency keeps you there.
Right.
So, in thinking about persistency, when you were working hard and getting stronger, faster, getting bigger, when did you start feeling the fruits of your labor? When were you like, this is working? I'm on the right road right here.
We're at PE, and I trained a lot by myself to want to be the fastest guy.
Yeah.
There was a group of guys in my class during that time that ran really, really fast. I mean, fun fast. And needless to say, again, I ran behind those guys. But I could feel myself, latter part of 10th grade, again, another PE class, where I'm starting to close some gap on those guys, starting to close a little bit of ground. And eventually, by the end of the sophomore school year, I'm running right with those guys. And it was one of those things where, again, you're running the sprints, and I finally get there, and it's like, okay, I'm here. And I got a look from one of the guys like, what in the world are you doing here? Because, again, I was slow. I mean,
unexpected.
Yes.
Yeah, unexpected.
Yes. So when he looked in, I mean, we kind of locked eyes, and my attitude at that point was, I told you I was coming.
Yeah. Talk about reward.
Yes, and it
reward right there.
Another one of those God moments where I realized in a moment, no, this is not what I wanted. I'm supposed to beat you. Yeah. Wow. And just like that, I realized I had entered kind of the upper echelon with our guys, and but I was able to take a look at the reality of, but it happened because I've been doing what I've been doing. Right. So I'm going to keep doing it. Right. And that commitment, how did it help your team? How did it help Central? How did it influence those other players? The stronger each individual link in that link of 11, the stronger each individual link, the stronger the team, we say. Yeah. So being able to see that first, if I'm solid in my position, then the coaches don't have to worry as much about my position, right? So, but it helped guys around me. It helped my best friend grow in confidence. It helped guys around me because, again, Noel, I'm coming from that guy that when we played pickup sports, I was kind of that, I'm come on man. Yeah. Come on man was the last kid picked. The attitude was not come on man, we're excited, like come on man. Right. We gotta pick you on our team because you're the last one standing and whatever. So when you see that, recognize it, understand it, they really don't want me to play. Okay. The only way to fix that is to get better. Yeah. So again, in process, but again, we're talking about a lot of life being lived and kind of in that equation where I'm not good enough, and probably never good enough for me. But again, my attitude was always
those wrong farmer expectations.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But I'm coming.
Yeah. Right. Coming. And so, did you play other sports as well in high school? You mentioned pickup, so I'm hearing basketball.
No, I played.
Maybe
we lived way out. Major was way out. As far as other folks saw it, when you live out in the bushes, it's the same distance to Thomasville to school as it is from Meigs to Thomasville as it is from Thomasville to Meigs. But when our parents worked and getting a ride to be able to get home in the evenings, that was a tough thing. Sure. So I tried to go out for basketball in middle school, and my mom just was honest with me. It's tough for me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I can't do it. You're going to have to choose one of these sports.
Mm-hmm.
So football was an easy choice. And as I'm driving in 11th grade, 16, get the driver's license. And now she's let me know you can
Your
drive
mom,
yourself home.
she's like, hooray.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
so I'm dating a person at the time, I guess you call it dating. I was going to the Ward home and spending a lot of time with Coach Charlie Ward Sr.'s daughter, Charlie Ward Jr., the Heisman Trophy winner's sister.
Yeah.
And I got this great idea that this time I can go out for the basketball team.
Yeah.
So the evening or afternoon of the first basketball practice or tryouts, I go into the gym, first one there. I always prided myself on being the first one. So I'm the first one in the gym, and Coach Ward comes in to sweep the gym floor, mop the gym floor. And he looks me in the face and he says, "What you doing here, boy?" I thought, what kind of question is that?
Right.
And they just announced over the PA system one more time, basketball trials this afternoon.
Yeah.
And the first one. And I'm thinking I'm going to get some kind of attaboys,
right? Sure.
And he hits me with, "What are you doing here?" Mm-hmm. I said, "Look, I'm here to try out for the basketball team." He said, "Boy, you better catch that bus." Catch the bus. Wow. The buses were firing up out in the parking lot.
No.
And my heart just dropped. And I was like, whoa, man, he's serious.
Yeah.
Why is he sending me home? This guy knows me. Again, I'm at his house every opportunity I get, right?
Sure.
And he says, "Nobody from Meg's playing on my basketball team." What did I do?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. So I went out the backside of the gym because I had let at least 100 people know I'm going out for the basketball team, right? And actually I'm going to be the basketball team.
Yeah.
And so I kind of sneaked out the back door of the high school. The bus exchange was what would be 2 city blocks, but I had to go through the technical school parking lot, cross 19, go through the bushes into the elementary school parking lot, and try and sneak on the bus, right? Yeah. And you get on and, "Dude, I thought you were going out for the basketball team."
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, I'm not. Nothing to say. Just kind of no recourse in anything. But the following season, the same guy came to me and he said, now I'm a senior.
Yeah.
And he says, "I want you to come out for the basketball team."
Wow.
I was, "Coach Ward, are you serious?" He said, "Yeah, I need some leadership. Can you do it?" I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
You saw the value in you.
Yeah, and I was on a mission through that, from that time until the time that we actually spoke basketball again, to show him that for whatever he had seen in Meg's Georgia kids, not only was that not me, but that was an unfair representation of my hometown. I loved my hometown at that time. One of the things that was really driving me was I wanted to be the first from that town to be able to enter into professional sports, professional football to be exact.
Right.
And so it was, it's kind of Mission Copeland and Mission Meigs at the same time.
Yeah.
And but when I received that, it's so ironic. It seems it was just a few weeks or so before that, I had a talk with my grandfather on his porch, and he said to me, "Son, it's a bad thing when your name shows up before you do." And I thought, wow, because the tone of his voice was, needless to say, negative.
Yeah.
It's a bad thing
Yeah.
when our names show up before we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then and Coach Gordon eventually gave me some names of guys that had been on the team. And he said, I had so much trouble with those three guys.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it again. And he said, I've seen different in you over the past year. I want you on the basketball team.
That's powerful.
It is. It is. It was a lot of fun when that moment came.
Yeah, great.